Hello and welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and tonight I'm pleased to say that I feel a bit better than yesterday, so we have a show to enjoy. And we have a really interesting recollection from journalist Maya Snow about I saw Meghan Markle on a royal visit and her behavior was a red flag of what was coming. That headline caught my attention, and without spoiling the content, I'm going to say that this was a really good body language assessment. But before we begin, I want to announce that American Riviera Orchard has launched a new merch. In this case, this beige. I mean, it's as minimalistic as it gets. So avant-garde and risky, but at the same time traditional and timeless. I can't wait until I get my own beige. And it comes in all sizes and ships everywhere in the world because beige is the new black. But let's begin because we've got some really funny photos to see. Approximately 1 month into my first job as a reporter, I attended the first of many royal visits throughout my career. Little did I know at the time that I was seeing history being made. Pretty much like me analyzing the Oprah interview 3 years ago. Those memories. The visit in question was none other than one of the few photo calls made by the then newly married Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in their brief tenure as a working royal couple. Well, that brief word should be highlighted in bold, and well, I'm going to give them a pass with the working thing because they were technically working royals. Ready to grift? You bet it. But they didn't count on Queen Elizabeth taking down their half-in, half-out dreams. On September 28, 2018, the couple paid a visit to Loughborough University to attend the Coach Core Awards, and even then, some 16 months before they announced their intention to step down as senior working royals, there were clues that the royal dream could not last. I mean, so many of you knew from the very beginning, and most of you saw them, Harry and Meghan, as a couple only in photos or videos. I can't imagine being able to spend a couple hours watching them. And I mean it. I cannot imagine myself doing it, but that would be the best way to see their body language up close. I remember very distinctly that even as a very new reporter standing in my spot in the media pen at the opposite end of the sports hall, how uncomfortable Meghan seemed to be. Now, it's important to remember that there was no reason for her to feel uncomfortable. She's an extrovert. She had been in the public eye for years, and this wasn't her first rodeo as a royal. Maybe she was just getting fed up of the working royal part and wanted to go directly to the making money phase. Still waiting, I know. While her husband looked at ease in his role as the prince, cracking jokes with the students and other attendees and comfortably throwing a ball around, the same could not be said for his wife. Now, I have analyzed Harry's body language a couple times, and unless he's really comfortable with the situation, which usually means events related to sports, he's really awkward. But this time, at least by the end of 2018, he still looked relaxed and with a certain degree of confidence. Maybe he knew that the attire was a misfire and was not the right one for the situation, but this is the kind of events that Harry more or less liked in the past, especially because he didn't have to give a speech. With hindsight, photos from that day paint an obvious picture that this was not the world for Meghan. And these pictures are from a stock photo website. They have not been modified or edited in any way. That's why they look a bit dark and with a lack of contrast. But I decided to include them just like that to ask a question. Why does Meghan behave like she's a Pixar character? And I don't know if you have seen those influencers who talk like they are cartoon characters. they can be quite annoying. But why was Meghan doing these faces? It's like she was trying too hard. Just my opinion, but I would love to know your take on this. She looked incredibly uncomfortable while she played catch with the students. Her wide stance and lost look should have tipped us all off that she wasn't going to continue with her royal duties. Yeah, more than her body language, I'd say that it was her facial expressions. I think this photo in particular was a good representation of her behavior and mood at the time, so I decided to get a high-resolution license of it just to take a closer look. We don't know who the guy is, but he looks like he is explaining something to the Duchess, and besides that, a gesture of fingers crossed and covering her belly, well, let's say that her facial expression was a bit odd, in the sense that it was not the most genuine of smiles. You see that even if her lip corners are pointing upwards, her cheeks are lacking that pressure that makes a smile be a real smile. No, that's not there. And by far, though, the biggest glaring error was her, or perhaps her stylist's, choice of shoes. Yeah, I think that only by the fact that the event had to do with coaching, one might have guessed that this was not the best option to play dodgeball. While Princess Kate always makes sure she is wearing trainers or sports gear and ties her hair up for any hands-on visits, Meghan did not follow her sister-in-law's immaculate and well-practiced style. I am not a fan of comparisons, but this is something hard to avoid. Instead, she chose to wear stilettos paired with smart black trousers and a form-fitting navy top and kept her hair down throughout the visit. Yeah, the hair part, pun intended, was obviously the most uncomfortable because there are enough pictures of Meghan fixing her hair in more than one time. Perhaps this contributed to how uncomfortable she seemed on the day, but regardless of the circumstances, someone made a mistake. However, for me, and I imagine all the other journalists gathered there, the most obvious red flag was how much Meghan clung to Harry throughout the day. If he moved away, she quickly followed, and even if she was having her own conversation with a student, her husband was always nearby. Around 2 months later, I went to my second royal visit, this time to see Prince William and Princess Kate attend a memorial service for those who were killed in the Leicester helicopter crash at the King Power Stadium on October 27 that year. In what was a significantly more difficult visit, especially for the future king, who had known the club's chairman personally, the couple showed poise, calm, and sympathy. Well, I think this is comparing apples to oranges and downright unfair because Harry and Meghan's event was a sporty one and this was a much more solemn one, right? The problem is that if we go for sporty events, then, well, that comparison is not going to go well for Meg. By the way, that was the engagement where this picture was taken. Legendary photographer. Perhaps if Meghan had taken a little more notice of how the Waleses conducted themselves in these visits, the current dreadful mess Meghan and Harry find themselves in could have been avoided. But, Rogues, I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, I'm the Royal Rogue, and remember, much love and bliss.